Christian Eriksen, one of the greatest playmakers the football world has ever seen, and one of the most iconic midfielders in the Premier League. Goals, assists, trophies, individual awards. Eriksen has touched almost everything in his career. But one day, a very, very black day in football history, Eriksen fell to the ground and died for a moment.
Christian Eriksen in some distress by the look of things.
Well, players knew straight away that was a heavy fall.
How was he able to make an amazing return in just 8 short months and still win a trophy before Harry Kane? Stay tuned and you will find the answers regarding one of the most shocking comebacks ever in football. Let's kick it off. Picture this. Christian Eriksen has always been one of those guys who plays football with grace and attention to detail. An incredible playmaker who can serve it up to you from, well, basically anywhere he wants. Long balls, through balls, pinpoint passes, travellas, chips over the defense. He could do it all while making it look easy. He started his professional career at Ajax, where he played for 3 years, between 2010 and 2013. In the summer of 2013, after being tracked by their scouts for a long time, Eriksen joined Tottenham. In England, Eriksen reached his full potential and became one of the best playmakers in the history of the Premier League, coming close to the likes of Cesc Fabregas, Mesut Ozil and Kevin De Bruyne. His 82 assists in 7 seasons for Spurs are a testament to this. The prime of his career was in 2019, when he played in the Champions League final against Liverpool, but lost 2-0. Anyway, he was brilliant on the ball and an excellent team player, but he felt his time at Tottenham had come to an end and demanded a transfer to Italian side Inter just 2 months after Jose Mourinho took over. However, on an individual level, his time in Italy was not a positive one. Yes, he won the Serie A title in 2020 to 2021, but without being a key player. He was just not getting the same game time he expected after his arrival at Giuseppe Meazza. A prime example of this was the Europa League final in 2020, when he played around 15 minutes against Sevilla in the 3-2 loss. It just seemed like Serie A was not the right fit for him, as he showed signs of slowdown in his game. But after winning the Scudetto in 2021, he was in the mood to show he still had what it took with Denmark at Euro 2021, and there was some logic to it. The team was stacked and enjoying one of its golden eras. The 2021 Denmark team included the likes of Andreas Christensen, Kasper Schmeichel, Simon Kjær, Thomas Delaney, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, as there were even claims that the side could be the dark horse of the tournament. However, they would have to do this without their talisman in the squad, following what happened in their first game. Eriksen fell to the ground and died for a moment. Denmark were playing their opening match at the Euros against Finland in front of their home crowd in Copenhagen. The score was level to the end of the first half, when Eriksen was about to receive a throw-in 42 minutes into the fixture. Suddenly, at that very moment, he fell face first to the pitch and remained motionless. He collapsed on the touchline. It was clear that something was gravely wrong. Players from both teams motioned furiously for the medical teams to arrive as quickly as possible. A silence fell over the stadium as fans looked on in horror at what was happening on the pitch. With his teammates shielding from public view, the medical team performed CPR and applied AED, which shocks the heart back into normal rhythm. According to the doctors, his heart had stopped for close to 5 minutes, but thanks to their quick action, Eriksen was revived and successfully carried out on a stretcher and reported to the hospital for further treatment. Soon after, the Danish Football Federation confirmed he was awake in hospital and awaiting further examination. Even Eriksen himself addressed his fans a couple of days later, saying on social media, "Deep down, he knew he would probably never play football at the highest level again." It was also reported by the media that he told his wife that he was done with professional football. And let's face it, who wouldn't think that after such a nightmarish incident that almost cost him his life? However, it wasn't just the dark moments that made this incident so memorable. It has become a cornerstone in football. It literally changed the game forever. From the next season on, referees in Europe's top leagues were instructed to stop play at any point where there was a suspicion of a serious head or heart injury. AEDs were now going to be on the sidelines of most leagues and international games. It also made players more aware of their health as well. Barcelona player João Cancelo, for example, was recently forced to miss a game to undergo tests for fear of heart problems, after it was reported that a relative of his had been diagnosed with a heart problem. There was no more playing around with heart issues in football. But what what happened to Eriksen afterwards? Had he truly put an end to his career? Well, judging by his first words when he regained consciousness, it's unlikely he was thinking about football at that moment. According to the emergency specialist, Dr. Jens Kleinfeld, who was one of the medics on the scene, Eriksen's first words after the incident were, "Damn, I'm only 29 years old." Shortly afterwards, it was announced that Eriksen did indeed have a chance of making a comeback, but no one believed it could be achieved in just 8 months. But the road would not be easy. First, he had to be properly treated to minimize the chances of another cardiac arrest. In the days following the incident, Eriksen was implanted with an internal cardioverter defibrillator, or ICD for short. This is a device placed inside the chest that detects irregular heartbeats and, if necessary, delivers electrical shocks that restore a regular heart rhythm. There were still doubts as to whether Eriksen was ready to play football again, but several experts and doctors agreed that his condition was good enough for him to be able to cope with individual training sessions and, over time, be able to increase his workload. So he started training, but his journey with Inter was over. According to the rules of the Italian Federation, players with implanted defibrillators were not allowed to play in the league. So after his contract with the Nerazzurri was terminated in December 2021, Eriksen trained with former club Ajax for about a month after returning to the Premier League, playing for Brentford under his compatriot Thomas Frank. Imagine what a surprise it must have been for all the fans around the world to see him return just 8 months after the horrific incident at Euro 2021. However, there was one very important question. Could he cope with the pace of the Premier League with the device in his chest? Throughout his career, he played as a number 10, which is certainly one of the most intensive positions in football. He was responsible for the creative part of the game, but he also had to cover space and defense. That took a lot of stamina, and it was questionable whether he was ready to play 90 minutes in the fastest league in the world. In the end, Brentford went all in and offered Eriksen a short-term contract until the end of the 2021-22 season. Everyone's questions were answered in just 3 short weeks of his arrival. His career was far from over. Eriksen played the full 90 minutes in just his second game for the team, provided an assist in his third game, and scored in his 5th. He finished the season with 5 goals in 11 games and, most impressively, was 3rd among Brentford players in scoring chances created, after only playing about half as many games as the rest of his teammates. In the summer of 2022, Eriksen had several offers in front of him, 2 of which were to stay at Brentford for another season or accept Manchester United's proposal. Seemingly ready for the big football, he agreed to join the Red Devils as a free agent on a 3-year deal, and he didn't disappoint. Throughout the whole 2022-23 season, he was one of Manchester United's key men, playing in a double pivot position alongside another new signing, Casemiro. He wasn't as influential defensively, but his new position didn't stop him from being every bit as creative in attack. He finished tied with Bruno Fernandes for the most assists for Man United, with 8 in the Premier League. He also helped them win their first trophy in 6 years under Erik ten Hag, beating Newcastle in the EFL Cup final. Unfortunately for Eriksen, the interrogation of an 18-year-old boy in the team called Kobbie Mainoo has significantly reduced his minutes this season. So far in 2023-24, Eriksen has made a total of 885 minutes in the Prem, equaling around 55 per game. His figures in attack have also dropped, with just 2 goal involvements to his name at the end of March. According to several sources, his time in Man U is close to its end, as he has been unhappy with his current situation at the club. The famous transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano even reported recently that Eriksen has had a talk with coach Erik ten Hag, in which he expresses his desire to play as much as possible. We will certainly have more clarity on this matter after the end of the international break. However, the Dane's situation at Old Trafford is seemingly close to its climax, given the fact that United currently has 3 players with bigger prospects at his position: Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Kobbie Mainoo. Yes, Christian Eriksen may have been through a lot in the last 2 years, but his story certainly encourages others. Through the strength of his resilience and determination, Eriksen has shown us that if you want something badly enough, it will happen sooner or later. What are your thoughts, guys? What do you find most moving about Eriksen's story? Can you think of similar examples of resiliency in football? Let us know in the comments below, and give us some suggestions for future videos. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and hit like for more related content. Also, if you want to watch some of our last uploads, you can jump straight in here. Until next time, and see you on the pitch.